Yo, my peoples, what's up? Jason here with the One Stop Co-op Shop. Today I have a preview playthrough for Mageling, Rise of the Ancients. It is the first big box expansion for Mageling, which is one of my favorite, really a top 10 personal game for me. Solo game, and it also has cooperative and competitive modes. Today I'll be showing you the solo mode. It is a dice game where you'll be rolling these custom dice and building a tableau. As I acquire these cards, I will be able to gain in power, generating more and more energy and progressing through these kind of obstacle course of baddies and everything. It has dice manipulation. It has dice, rolling and assigning. There's a lot of combo play here. Easy to play badly, easy to get into a rut with stuff. But if you crack the code and figure it out, there is so much to like with Mageling. Happy to present a preview playthrough of the expansion content as well as explanations of everything you're getting in the box here on this video. But before I do that, this is the One Stop Co-op Shop. We are a gaming empire. We stretch across media with content for you any way that you like it. We have our podcast, which is twice a week, where we discuss games and give reviews on Sundays, game-centric content on Sundays, and then more of a free-for-all grab bag of topics, above-the-table discussions and interviews on Wednesdays of your favorite co-op designers and topics that are germane to the gaming hobby. YouTube, you're on here right now. We have our YouTube channel. Please like the video, subscribe, spread the word about the One Stop Co-op Shop. We also have our streaming channel, which is up and going. We have playthroughs of old favorites, new favorites, lots of different cooperative games on the streaming channel. We also have our Discord. Discord is our center community hub where so many good conversations happen, so many great people, a very safe space to say, whatever you want to celebrate your love of solo and cooperative games. It is completely and utterly free to join. We do have a Patreon, which does offer extra tiers, extra opportunities at interaction with the One Stop Co-op Shop community. But if you want to join, the discussion is completely free. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. All right, so before we get started, I'm going to show the base game element. So that way the expansion stuff, which adds on to the chassis that the base game establishes, that will make more sense. So, base game, what are you doing? Here is your crystal, your spirit crystal. Here is where you're going to manipulate your power dice in order to build up energy. This snake track will track the energy that you will be getting. At the beginning of the game, it won't generate much. But it will generate enough for you to be able to begin to acquire these cards. They will come out of a market. When I buy a card, the market will fill up, and eventually I'm going to want to build up to 8 of my what they call the grimoire. That is how I build more and more energy. The energy is useful not just for acquiring cards, but for making progress on this track. So this is kind of a journey, so that I'm going to be stopping at each individual place, and they have more danger and more peril and more things that I need in order to be able to beat it. The number here is the energy that I'm going to have to spend in order to beat the location. Then I would just simply progress this way. And if I keep on doing that, if I make it to the end of the cloud chamber, by the end of the timer, and I'll explain the timer in just a second, but the goal of the game, just to set that up at the beginning, is to get to the cloud chamber and beat it. And if you could do that, then you've won a game of Mageling. All right, so I've zoomed in to the player area and the market, the nexus as the game calls it. So what you are trying to do is you are going to roll dice. That's the first thing you do on your turn. These dice have 5 symbols, which correspond to 5 schools of magic. So then it is, I'm just going to go out green, blue, yellow, but there is a mythology to this. So there's like 5 energies, 5 schools of magic, I should say. That will fire off the different cards. And then there is one side that has this hand, which is more of a multi-purpose symbol, which I'll show in just a second. So then what you're trying to do is you're trying to roll and try to fire off as many of your cards as possible. Not always possible because it is a dice game, but you have resources to be able to try to get as many of your cards popping off as much as possible. All right, so then I'm going to roll them bones to begin. So then that's not a bad roll. So I would set that aside for later, knowing that I'm going to proc that. But these other dice I'm not too happy with. I get 1 free reroll of any or all dice that I choose. and then I will move on. So this is not optimal because I did not power this card. That happens. You need to build your grimoire so that it can handle luck. If you get the luck, great. If you don't, try to handle it. So the basics of the game is gathering energy. That is really what you want to do. So then this focused row is the main way in which you'll gather energy. It's going to be pretty frequent that you're going to program dice into this slot over here. Sorry about that. So then I can basically lead with a symbol. I cannot lead with a hand. I can lead with a symbol, and that would generate 1 energy per die I put in here. The hands are useful as supplements. So then I could, if I wanted to, put those 2 hands over here and generate 3 energy. For now, I'm just going to generate 2 for now. I can also gather. Gather is a special action which is not optimal, but it's there for you in case you need it. Let's say you just rolled poop. And I have just like symbols hanging out that I can't really use. You can use these 2 symbols here as a gather action, and that would get you 1 energy. So then that would be a use for symbols that you don't have anything else to do with. There are 2 slots for it. You have to roll genuine poop in order to use both of those gathers. So then putting 2 mismatched symbols here would get me 1 energy. If I were to put in 2 matching symbols, then that would actually get me a extra mana crystal. Mana crystals are energy that you can spend that lasts from turn to turn. So then this energy would dissipate at the end of the turn. This persists from turn to turn, so it's a little bit more advantageous to put the matching symbols here. So that's focusing and that's gathering. The last symbol here is the animate symbol. A bunch of things that I can do with that. I can trigger a reroll. Let's say I was just like unhappy with everything. Go ahead and reset that a little bit. I can go ahead and trigger a reroll and try to get the symbol that I want. Hey! Look at that. I could also set aside dice, so I wouldn't have to roll everything. I could just roll as much as I want. You can also use this symbol to discard cards from the Nexus to get the Nexus move in, to trigger powers, personal powers. In co-op mode, you do have personal power. In competitive, you do not. But everybody has a simple power they can use. This is a flexible die that can do a lot when you roll it. So that's your Spirit Crystal. For the most part, you are going to want to try to make things happen on your Grimoire. Generally, they have some sort of resource that they give you, and then a power that happens. So then in this case, if I put a die on Magic Cauldron, I would get 2 crystals. And then when I perform the gather action, which is this, choose a player to gain a crystal. That could be yourself. So create 3 crystals, 1 die. That's excellent. So not only am I gathering crystals and I'm building up energy and using that energy to buy cards from the Nexus. So let's say I had gathered 5 on this particular turn. I could buy the Runic Vortex. It would go here, and then it would be available next turn for me to play. Get a new card out from the Nexus right there. I could also, if I wanted to focus certain particular dice that match up with these one-shot cards in the Nexus, I can basically get the power and get the Nexus moving again. So in this particular case, I would get a crystal if I focused, and then I would be able to set an unused die to mask. And so I would discard that, get another card, get a crystal, and move on with my turn. The essence of the game in terms of the combo creation are in cards like this. So you see, I can set an unused dice to moon, so then I could use this to, use another card, so then 1 die would get me 2 activations. But this one is more direct. I could activate a animal scroll. You see that there are symbols here. Some of the cards have animal symbols, so that 1 die would literally just proc 2 cards. That's what you want. You want 1 die to proc 2 cards, 3 cards. You want 1 die to lead into the next die, and eventually you'll build up to 8, and you'll get all sorts of effects. So I'm generating a little bit of energy here. Eventually, you see this, 20 plus. You'll be getting a lot. You might get up to 25, 30, and beyond if you get the right combination together. All right, so here is the Journey to Cloud Chamber scenario. Not only are you generating energy to acquire cards, as I said in the intro, you're going to be using them to defeat locations. When I defeat a location, I would move on to here. I would acquire the crystals that are on this card. And I lay this out depending on the difficulty level. So then the less difficult levels, I have a lot of energy to begin. More difficult, more energy this way. So I have to progress through this faster. So then I would put that on the world tree. The world tree is nice and healthy. Thank you very much. And then I would open up the next card, the Swamp Fiends. There would be an entry effect usually and a number value to defeat it. That's kind of how it goes. The energy cost to beat the different locations will increase as I go on. So as an example, this one would require 19. So you think you're going to be powerful, but the cards will grow in power to match. The reason why the energy on the Evertree is very important is because after every round, a piece of energy is going to go on one of the ancient ones. So then once it acquires 3 crystals, it would turn over and trigger an effect. Asdia. Oh, look at that, Asdia. We were going to meet her later. Anyway, so then it would have you discard cards from the Nexus, depending on what it is, and do something bad to you. You must wound a animal claw or gain 2 bats. Let me show you what that is right now. These are the tokens. They represent 2 sides of badness. So then I would choose if I wanted to, so that the card let me choose. It would put bats in my way. Bats cost 2 energy to defeat. I cannot progress locations until I defeat all the bats. So that's kind of an energy sink for my turn. It would also give me a wound. So then wounds, I would assign to relevant cards. So then some effects will just say gain a wound. I would pick the card that I would put that on. So then I would wound this. In order to unwound it, I would either need a separate card like this one that would say choose a player to discard a wound. So I would do that. Let's say I had a die that I could put there. It would remove the wound and that would unlock it again. Or I would put the die on there and not use the power. Right now this card is locked. I would put the die on there and it would just at the end of the turn remove the wound. So really you want to try to get as much healing effects as possible to keep your cards unlocked and keep your powers going. It's important to note that wounding your cards sounds bad, but it actually does not in itself trigger the end game. It is this Evertree. If ever you were to get stalled in your progress and you get into your doom phase, which is the event phase with no energy here in the Evertree, then you have lost. But if you're able to make it to the end, as I said before, gathering the energy along the way to keep the Evertree refreshed, making it to the last area. As these enemies, you'll kind of like endure them. They're basically all the same. Making you discard Nexus cards and giving you either wounds or bats. But if you're able to outlast all 4 of these obstacles and defeat all the locations, then you have won the Journey to Cloud Chamber base game of Mageling. And here is the Cloud Chamber, the Journey to Cloud Chamber scenario with a whole bunch of new stuff that you will get with Mageling Rise of the Ancients. Most of what you're going to get is going to key off of this new personal part of your player space, which is called the Power Orb. So then it represents kind of an extra source of power that you're going to be cycling through like rondel style and triggering new effects. So each of these power orbs is going to come with a set of cards. So these are different power cards. They're going to give you resources and just new stuff to do. And the way that you operationalize that is as you're rolling throughout your turn, you're going to be doing the usual things. Put dice in your grimoire and your spirit crystal. But you can also choose to place your die on one of these 5 spaces, 1 symbol for 1 space. And that would progress the brightness of the orb 1 and 2 and then back to 0. So you can imagine that you're holding this orb, it's at 0, it's nice and dim, but you want to power it up and eventually you want to basically make it pop. Think of the charges in Aeon's End. Your personal board has these charges, and then once you use it, you get set back to 0. In this particular case, when you get back to 0, you are going to draw a power card. So the power card is going to have all sorts of effects, and I'll explain those effects in just a second, but the power card is going to be another thing that you have in terms of your personal resources. The brightness of the orb is going to interact with new cards, plenty of new cards. Here, gain 1 energy for each die in your power orb. In this particular case, you may gain up to this that says X, whatever that is, the symbol over there. X is the brightness of the orb. So X, if it's here, you would gain 0, which would be terrible. But then it'll be here, that would be 1, and then 2. So you want to coordinate that to maximize the interactions with the different cards. More combos, more combos. So then in addition to the power cards, that symbol that I showed you is a new dice. And you see these pretty dice over here. They are the same thing, but they are different, cast a different way to distinguish them. You will acquire them, these arcane dice. And if it's blank, then you'll just roll it and you get what you get, or sometimes it'll have the symbol and you get that symbol. You could use it like a regular dice and then you would lose it at the end of your turn. So if you have a card like this that would be able to get you dice regularly, then you'll have a source of all new extra activations so that you can put them on other Grimoire scrolls, more focus crystal, get this progressed more, all that kind of thing. Lots of ways to interact with this. You're going to play games where you only circle this a couple of times. You're going to play games where this goes all over the place. And you'll cycle through this deck maybe even multiple times, proccing the powers. You will have these power cards. In order to use them on the turn, you would just tap them. You have to have dice on your power orb in order to use your cards. So eventually your play state is going to advance. You're going to have a couple of cards. Say I have 4 cards in my hand. You need that many dice in order to fire them off on a particular turn. So on this case, I only have 1 here. I'd be able to tap 1 power card. So make sure you coordinate that. It is going to give you this symbol, which is an additional source of energy. Only this energy is only useful for beating monsters and for beating the locations. So locations we've gone over before. Monsters are a new thing. So then some cards will, instead of these bat tokens, so a lot of cards give you bats, sometimes they'll give you monsters instead. They'll have this symbol on there. So then there's a lot of different unique art for them. They're usually a higher energy cost in order to defeat, but defeating them will give you some kind of effect. So it's a little bit more variable, but definitely harder to deal with because of the higher energy cost. If you want to, you can use your power cards to defeat those monsters, and as I said, the locations above. So just be aware that it's basically energy, but energy that is only useful for a specific purpose. So you have some new elements over here. It's specifically the potions. So in the old game, gather was a suboptimal thing to do with your dice, but it was just there to have something to do with your useless dice. In this expansion, because you have so much space in your power orb, you're almost never going to gather if you can choose to. However, these potions and these urns are there to incentivize you to consider that as an option. So then if I gathered it all, if I put 2 dice there and I gathered whatever it is, the energy, the mana, I can also, depending on what location I'm in, gather a potion. Potions are one-time uses. You store them and you could use them at any time. So then this would be here, agility potion, set a die for hand, just in case you need it. Different powers, so like gain an arcane die or heal damage. Ooh, I like healing damage. Y'all know I like that as a healer. You'll have as many of these laid out as a player count, so they'll be available for plenty of people to be able to take advantage of that. As you move through to the later locations, you'll have access to urns. These are not stored. They're basically potions. They're a little bit more powerful, and you use them right away because it's the end game. What are you going to save it for? So then here, gain 3 energy right now. Boom, done. So then you go ahead, you gather, you get the urn, and then you proc the urn power. This last location has spaces for 2 urns. In terms of feeding the Evertree, that works the same way. However, the cards here work differently. I was not provided, at least at the current moment, with the new examples of the monsters. It will have the same back, but the front will look like that. The front, it'll basically do the same thing, but just incorporating the power orb. First of all, it will discard cards from the Nexus, get the Nexus moving. Second of all, it will do something to hurt you, where in the base game, it would key off of depending on what cards you had and do damage or bats. Here, it depends on the brightness of your orb. So every third turn, you are going to get a monster doing something that is relative to your orb. So that's up to you. You can set your game up so that you are always at that dim orb spot, in which case it's not that bad. Or you could walk in, you can not have the resources, a nice bright orb, and then you would get hit with a monster. So a little bit of a change to the ancient ones, a little bit more to get in your way. Finally, because you have the power orb and theoretically you are more powerful, and these potions, you do have an extra little, these storm tokens. Whenever they hit you, you're going to have to pay the cost. -3 mana? Ah! That would be terrible. And then, or a damage or something like that. So you just have another little layer of difficulty. Good stuff, bad stuff, a lot on the chassis of the Cloud Chamber adventure. But that is what the expansion adds. At the end, you will be able to acquire some treasure. In the basic Mageling game, you would acquire access to more cards. It will come out of the main deck. Here, you have access to all these treasures. So then you would just have all these things that you can do on all your turns. So then to increase your power so that you can play the campaign. The campaign is harder. It's the same thing, but it's just crystals that are more spread out a little bit later. So you have to get to the later cards earlier, and you will believe me, once you get to the really hard boards, you will need as much power as you can to get that far quickly. So here are the elements that are particular to the second campaign, which is the Shrine of Asdia. Most of everything that I showed in the last section is going to be applicable in this section, like the potions and the urns and some of the other stuff, especially the power orb. Need that. But these are the locations. As you can see, about the same amount, but progressing through them, it will be a shorter time. So generally, these effects are going to be a little bit more powerful and cost a little bit more to defeat. So then where this would be 7 and just like a straight up thing, here you would actually get a monster by entering here. And monsters are a little bit harder to deal with, generally, than just regular bats. So it's a little bit harder to get through, but they have less areas to do it. You also have fewer turns. The last game, I believe, had somewhere around 13 turns. Here you have 11. Or 12 if you start with the easy mode, but we're not starting with easy mode, are we? You go ahead, you start with easy mode if you're just getting into Mageling. I've played a bunch of this. Okay, so you're going to do basic Mageling stuff. The track is going to progress, and the track has a number of effects that are going to happen as the moon hits each individual space. To give you an idea of the effects, this space, and this space, right there is going to discard cards from the Nexus. So if you're looking for something, make sure you get it before there's a discard. Here is just like in the ancient one for the Cloud Chamber adventure that I showed you, this will harry you depending on how bright your orb is. If it's dim, you get a neat little bat. Who cares about that? But if it's bright, you'll attract a monster. That'll happen a couple of times. Locations will be closed along the way, so skedaddle because locations are beginning to close, especially in co-op. Solo not a problem, but in co-op, someone might lag. You have to help them. This is the main event, though. Right here, and right here. As you journey along the path, you're going to be chased by the monster. And the monster, when they move, they have an effect. If they move and they're far away, they're going to sick a monster at you. Get over there. Go bother them. If they happen to move into a space with a Mageling, then they are going to do a damage to that Mageling, and that they have to deal with that too. So anytime that the monster enters a unrevealed location, let's say everybody's stuck here, and they enter this space and it's unrevealed, you lose. Anytime that a Mageling is caught by the flip, and they're just over there, they're having a terrible game, and they're caught with that flip, you lose. Or if the Magelings, or if the moon ends up in this final space, and the Mageling have not conquered the last location, they lose. Aiding in your quest, though, is another little layer. So we have a defeat condition for most of the locations here. Defeat them, you give a sacrifice. That could be to discard a gem. Other ones will say take a wound or get some kind of monster or something like that. Then you will get a buff. So then these are 6 potential buffs. They're double-sided, and there's multiple copies of them. So anybody can get buffs depending on what it is. And the buffs will add to the card. So if I have a card over here, then I would add that to the top, and it would trigger both effects. So then I would roll. If I program the moon, I would do the control enhancement first, and then I would get whatever the card says. So those are really powerful. Because of the increased cost of this, you absolutely need to consider trying to claim one of these every time you defeat a location. Play will move on if you are able to enter the final space and you are able to beat it. Usually something terrible happens, gain 5 bats. 16, which is pretty high, or pretty low, but the bats will get in your way. If you're able to do that, and just like in the Cloud Chamber Adventure, pay the cost and beat it before the moon hits the final space, then you have won a game of Mageling. Alright, so we're ready to begin a game of Mageling, Shrine of Asdia. I think that's the working title for this module. Here is the baddie. Baddie starts in the mountain. Got my moon over here, and this is the opening location, which is Gorgar. Don't know why I'd want to go to Gorgar, but sure. Each player gains a monster. That's not good. But if I defeat this, and if I spend an extra mana, which I intend to, I will get a Chaos Enchantment for one of my cards. Not too shabs. Alright, so I got the camera here because this is going to fill up with a bunch of stuff. Hopefully relatively soon. I have available cards in the market. The one I'm gunning for, though, is this one's a really good card to start with. Cost 7, it's going to cost me my mana. So I'll see how much I can mitigate that. But this one, every skull dice is going to get me 3 energy. At the beginning of the game, every game, you want energy. Get this grimoire going. This is a shiny toy, but it's going to take you a while to really get a lot out of it. So just leave it there for now. And it will come in handy at some point later in the game. So let's go ahead and roll. And I have a bunch of garbage. So that's not relevant. I want to try to get to 5 energy so I don't spend my mana. So I'm going to try to get some hands and some eyes right there. That is, wow, that's total garbage. Oh boy. All right, so that is 2. I'm going to get that going over here. That is 3. But that is, well, it's a crystal is what it is, officially. I do get a potion. Does the potion help me? Discard this to set a die to nature. Does not help me right now. Oh my god. 3 is horrendous. Oh boy. There's so many good things to get out here. I really wanted the death wave. So the question is, do I discard all of my mana to get death wave? Well, let me go ahead and play this last one. I have no real use for it other than to progress my power orb, which is really bad. You know what? I want it. I am going to use all 4 of my mana. I don't know if I'm going to regret that, but I love this ability. And then we're just going to go hope for the best here. Oh, new card. Drakon Knight. I gain a arcane dice. So as a reminder, the arcane dice are here, and it would go on this symbol. So then that is the new card, and that is the round. All right, I progress over here. You should be on location. What are you doing over there? So nothing happens over here. When I get to the second round, that's when the board starts to change a little bit. All right, come on, skull. Now I'm rolling for something. No skull right there. I'm going to keep a hand around because they're useful and flexible, but I'm going to roll again. I got my skull. That's actually much better. Why didn't I get that last time? That's going to be parked right over there. No question. I get to discard a card. Well, first of all, I'm going to get my 3 energy. I should have reset that from last time, but I have 3 energy now. I am going to get rid of Lunar Blades. Not bad, but I have other priorities out there. So then let's get the next card. Same version of the Drakon Knight, only for blue. And I can get a blue symbol and 3 energy. And this will be, look at that, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I still have my 1 mana. And I'm going to get it. So I am going to get this one, which will get me 2 more energy and get this going. The reason I got this is because I see this here. This is, I may activate a face scroll. Here's a face scroll. If I can get both of these paired, then I can fire off 2 scrolls with one, and now I'll be really cooking with gas at that point. New card, another one of these, Gokin. You may gain up to 1 blue for each activated face. I'm going to have 1 face, so that's not going to be so great. All right, so that is my turn. I'm starting to feel pretty good about my energy capabilities over here. All right, so we're going to go to round 3. This one says discard all cards that are 8+. There are no cards that are 8 or 9. 9 is the maximum cost. So nothing happens for now. Next turn, now the boss is going to enter my space, and I'll let you guys know, and gals out there, know what happens when the boss does. All right, no mana, but lots of capacity. Oh boy, no! Oh, that is unfortunate. So I can't do anything with that, so I'm just going to roll all of my dice again, try to get the good results. Excellent. That's why you roll everything again. All right, so I am going to trigger this thing again. So then that is 3 energy, and I can discard a card from the Nexus. That's going to be this one. Every card is good. It's just a question of what works with your strat. So I'm going to just get that going. Bye-bye. And then another blue. Look at that. You may recover a die that has been placed on any other blue scroll. Ooh, ho, ho. If I go a blue strat, that will be good. So then I will place that over here. That's going to get me to 5, and I can get a specifically this dice. If it was blank, then I would get any. I'd have to roll this, but it specifically says I have to get that die, which is just fine with me. All right, so I have a couple of options over there. I got plenty of options actually. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to take this shiny blue mask and that one over there. That's going to get me 7. And I'm going to trigger this twice because I want a power card. Next turn, I'm going to use whatever this is to beat the location. So then I get to recover up to this much my brightness level of shiny dice from any scroll. So that's good to know. I might want to have that at 1 because I am going to get one of those as long as I trigger this. And I get to recover it and use it again. So that's cool. And this is what I really wanted. I wanted the 2 power to beat the location. That will be next turn. But this is my active power for now. All right, and I have 7, and I am going to buy this card, which starts to get my chain going. Oh, baby. I love chains. That's why I love Mageling. Next card is Morta. Get a diamond. You may purchase a scroll from the discard pile for 1 less than normal cost. That's not terrible, especially because I have Death Wave over here. Death Wave is going to put a lot of cards in a discard. So if I have something I want, I could discard it and use Morta to get it back. Options, options, options. All right, time passes. I got the monster comes to my location, and when the monster comes to my location, he grievously wounds me. No! All right, so a wound simply means I have to wound one of my things, which is not good because I like all of my cards. But, actually, I'll put it on here. I have the power. My personal power is I can discard a wound from any player's grimoire, which is going to be me. That's why I didn't rush going through the locations. I knew that I was going to trigger the boss and have him wound me. I wanted to spend time, build up my grimoire, because the wound I can take care of fairly easily as long as I roll 1 hand. In 10 dice, I'm going to get 1 hand, right? Right. Wow! That is basically perfect. Don't have to do anything. So then I'm going to use my hand to get rid of that. I am going to use that. I swear that was skull. Check the tape. So we're going to do 3, and we're going to discard a card for the Nexus. We're going to discard the Dracon Knight. Getting rid of the swirlies, because I got some plans over here. Next one, Sentient Force. Gain 1 energy for each other. Well, that's discard fodder is what that is. You can diversify, and eventually when I get a little bit bigger, I'm going to get some dice diversity. But there's just too much good stuff happening with the blue combo. So as long as I just roll the blue combo, I'm good. So then I'm going to get Baku. Baku is going to activate this guy, or gal, right there, Shigoni. And it gets me 4 energy. So off of 2 dice, I have 7 energy. And I have no mana. But I'm not playing a game where I get mana. And I get one of these guys right there. All right, so that's 7. That's enough, just in and of itself, to defeat the location. Question is, do I want to use this a little bit more to get something else off of the tableau, especially this Deep Dream over here? Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here. I'm going to get 1 gem from a gather, and the gather action also gets me a potion. So here we go. Mimic a scroll in Nexus containing 4 or 5. That's actually pretty nice right there. And then I'm going to use this to progress my orb 1, get that set for the next round. I have so much energy production that I'm able to defeat the location without using my power card. That's really cool. I'm also going to use a mana, because the mana says when I defeat this location, I get a chaos enchantment. Oh, you know I'm going to get that. So that is going to take over there. I am now in Corleon, sir. No entry effect. Global focus. That. Oh yeah, you know I'm gonna go for those. The blue to move my power orb of space, and then I can get a mana enchantment by discarding a power card. Oh well, I mean, good thing I might not use that power card. Might just discard it to get that thing. 11 is pretty high, but with my energy output, I'm actually not worried about it. Spending that early mana on high energy generating, high cost cards really paid off. All right, so for the next moon movement, this is depending on the power of my orb. So you can imagine thematically, there's someone walking through the land and they have that power orb over here. They're holding it. If it's bright, it's powerful, it's going to attract monsters. I have it kind of at mid power, so it's just kind of zap me a little bit and give me 1 wound. All right, so that's my state of play. I still got my power card. I'm at 1, so that got me the wound. That's not going to last long. You guys saw why I like to kind of, I'm not worried too much, I should say, about the wounds. All right, that is a big pile of nothing, at least relative to my board over here. Let's roll again. And I got what I wanted. Man, that's... Oh, boy. Whew. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take care of that wound, and then we are going to use that. We're going to get 3 energy. I probably should reset the energy. Be better about that. I'm going to discard a card for the Nexus. That's going to be this one. Good cards. Just want to keep things diverse, because I think at this point I want to try to get different symbols going. All right. Drakon Caster, for you may activate up to 2 fire scrolls. Oh, I have 1 over here, and there are a couple of others to acquire. So that's a really good one to pair with whatever else is going on. All right, let's get Baku going, so then I can activate this scroll. You guys know the drill at this point. So then I get that, and I get 4 energy, 7. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to gather. Gather, normally I wouldn't use it, at least in the base game, but Gather is really good in this game because you get the mana with the double, and I get a potion. These potions have come in pretty handy, or will come in handy. Here we go. Glamour Potion. Face scrolls may be considered to be any type of school. Great. Wow. Basically, well, this one at least. This one I would be able to activate whether I roll that symbol or not. So that's a nice thing to have. I'm actually going to use this scroll, or this potion. Mimic a scroll in Nexus costing 4 or 5. That's going to be this one. So then I'm going to get another mana. I'm kind of building up that mana a little bit slowly. And then I can recover that have been placed on any other face scroll. That's that. I now have 2 of these symbols. That is going to focus, and that's going to get me to 9. And 9 energy is exactly what I need for this awesome card. Yeah! You may activate up to 2 fire scrolls. You know I'm planning on getting myself a second fire scroll anon very, very soon. All right, another progression of the moon. This time I wipe almost half of the Nexus. That's too bad. This one says I get rid of cards that have a cost of 6 or 7. All right, so that is almost the entire Nexus. That's all these cards that cost 6, including this new card. Resonant Form. That's too bad. You might have been a contender. What do I get? Crystalline Mystic. If your Grimoire has scrolls from all 5 schools of magic, get 2 crystals along with the other thing. That's pretty good. I'm actually not bad. I only need the moon and the green to get the 5 schools. This one, you may mimic the next card that comes into Nexus. That's not bad, but at this point I'm generating so much energy that I can really afford to look at higher cost cards as they come out. Speaking of high cost, yeah! Gain 1 for each other paw scroll in the Grimoire. That's good, because I got 2 of them. Sweet. That's my jam right there. It gets me towards this one. There's a lot of good that comes out of it. But this one, I still want to keep that one in mind because I can get 2 fire things as opposed to just the 1. So many options. What am I going to do with all these options? I'm not going to do that one. At least not yet. So I am going to roll that again. And I am good to go. So I just need 2 dice. That's really what you want to set up. You just want to need 2 dice to operate your scrolls and then be able to manipulate things with your other dice. Okay, so that's going to happen right there. So then I gain my scroll right there, and that is worth 4 energy. And then that is going to be a mana. I'm slowly gaining my mana back. Yes, I'm back to 4, and that's going to tap this, which gives me to 7, and I get to discard a card from the center, which is going to be Morta. I like Morta, but 4, I think I can do better than that. Okay, that's not bad. I can discard a wound from any player's Grimoire. Oh, okay. So I'm going to get a wounded next turn, actually. Next turn, because the boss is going to jump onto me. I may save that for next turn. In fact, I'm going to save it for next turn. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. The location says if I focus one of these guys, the blue eyeball, I can move my power orb 1. That is definitely going to happen. Okay, and then I am going to move my power orb again to get another power card. That will come in handy next turn. Formless Arcana, I can set one of these to any die. Notice it says I don't get 1. I can only set 1. So that's kind of dumb. but could be really good in combination with this card because I'm going to get cards. I am going to get stuff, so I can really put that together. I think it's going to be more of an end game thing. Actually, you know what? No, untrue. I'm going to discard this card next turn to progress and get a special enchantment. I was supposed to have a chaos enchantment the whole time. Never mind. We're going to retcon that. That's going to go here. I forgot to get that. Sorry about that. That one says re-roll any number of dice. I should be able to re-roll whenever I activate Baku, which is going to happen. So I didn't need it, but it's there right now. And I am going to continue to operate this thing because the reason I'm not using it here is because I can't gather because this doesn't let me gather. I'm going to just use this to get this keep on going. I'm going to discard this card. I can animate to just get rid of discard cards. Keep this moving. Ooh, okay. Reaper. Let me discard 1 card for the Nexus. Look at that. For each die set to skull. Focus die. Actually, not focus die. Any die. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, but I have my 8 and I have my Bear Shaman. Sweet. Gain. So this will be worth 3 crystals for 1 dice placement. That's super powerful. All right, that is the turn. Actually, I would just go ahead and lay that out. Oh, a lot of these things now. You can set an unused die to any side. Lots of flexible options in the Nexus now. All right, here he comes. Right there. He is going to... Ow! But that's okay. That's a wound. You know how I roll. Wounds aren't so bad, are they? No, they are not. Wounds are not that bad. All right, so plenty of options, plenty of things to do. Let me straighten that out so that I can get this moving. Okay, none of which involve moons. That's key. Now that I have that thing, I do not need this. So let's just keep on rolling and hopefully get one of these things. Got it. And I got this. Beautiful. All right. So, well, this needs to happen. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I did not get a hand. Oh, actually, you know what? So this is what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to activate this first. This, because I want to do the Chaos enchantment, reroll any number of dice. So I'm going to get that here, and I'm going to reroll to see if I can find another way. Get a hand to remove that wound. Nope. Whatever. And that is going to be worth 2. And I'm going to activate this scroll. You guys know the drill. And keep on saying guys. It should be inclusive. Guys and gals and everybody else. Right there. I am going to... Let's see. Put that there. And that is going to... Yep, I'm going to do that. So that's going to get me a crystal. And I get to heal a wound from any player's grimoire. That's going to come in handy next turn, because I cannot operate this thing next turn. Okay. So then I'm going to get another crystal. Really building those crystals up now. So let me make some change. And now I'm sitting on 6 crystals, baby. All right. And then I'm going to get 3 more energy, up to 7. Discard a card for the Nexus. Let's see if this is a discardable card. Wow! You may set an unused die to whatever. Yes. Oh, and it's a face. Sure. Not discarding that card. Gonna discard this one. There's only so many of these that I need. All right. And then here we go. Choose a player to discard a wound. That's probably gonna get discarded. That's redundant for what I got going. All right. So I'm gonna gather. I could actually use Gather in this game, or at least with the new expansion. Either game has the potions that you can use, but I like having the option to Gather. So I'm going to do that, and then get this. Learning Elixir. Scroll costs 1 less. That might want to come in handy, especially if I'm going to be going for that one. And I got 1 left. Let's go ahead and move that along, because I need to have a die on here in order to activate one of these. And I need to activate one of these because I am going to use my Arcane Illumination. You can only activate cards if you have dice on the power orb. I need the power in order to defeat the location, which I'm going to do this turn. Recover up to my orb brightness worth of dice. So, that's not going to get used at all because I don't have any on that, but I did need the 2 power. So that's discarded. Here we go. All right, so this says I will spend my 11. I have 8 on my board. I have 10 from the power, and then I'm going to spend 1 crystal. That is going to get me my 11. And I'm going to discard my other power card, which I just got. Bye-bye. Wasn't going to use you anyway. And I can get a mana enchantment. That is pretty slick, because I can add this to anyone and just get a mana. That is going to get added to my Drakon caster. You'll see that when I go down. All right. Now I moved on over here. Discard luminescence worth of gems or gain a wound. My luminescence, or my brightness is 2 right now, gaining a wound. That's happening. And then I can gain a bat to get an energy enchantment. That's happening. Bats are so easy to deal with. And get to, I have to defeat it with 13. I don't think that should be too big a deal. All right, so next round, I am over here. This symbol says a location is closed. If for any reason someone was dithering, I cannot imagine someone is lasting 7 or 8 rounds or whatever it is and is still in the first lane. But if they're there, people lose. That would be terrible playing. I don't know why that is the penalty. Maybe that'll change as the prototype evolves. We'll see. All right, we are back. Here is the mana enchantment on my Dracon caster. I'm feeling really good. I think I'm going to go for this Daos right here. I guess that's Daos. You need a lot of energy to get through the end game, and this is a lot of energy staring me in the face. All right, so I got one that I want. That's a really essential one. As long as I get this swirly, and this is also a good bonus right there, so getting that. So let's get a swirly. Come on, swirly. That's not a swirly. So that's actually not bad. I do get a chaos reroll, but yeah, sure. I'm going to use there. I'll do the chaos reroll. Yeah. Nope. I tried. So then I'm going to get my 2 energy and then trigger that, get 4 energy and my next die. The reason I wasn't too worried about it is because I have this moon. Moon's going to get focused for 5 energy, and then I'm going to use this. I get another mana crystal, and I'm going to set an unused die to any side. Very powerful. Let's see what else I get. Cosmic Orb. If 3 or more dice set to the same symbol, gain 1. That's actually not a bad interaction, and I think I might just pick that up because that would make that better, but I have to buy a whole bunch of things. Nah. Weeks of effort. Okay, so I'm going to set an unused die to there. So that is now worth 2 mana. Keep in mind, I now have 9 mana, and I'm going to activate this scroll, which is going to be another 3 energy to 8. And then get rid of a thing. Get rid of this healing one. Get out of here, healing. Who needs healing? All right. 8. You may mimic an activated scroll with a cost of 7. So I have all scrolls of 7. That's a big contender. Man, I have so many options for really good interactions. Going to use that over here. I gain 1 for each other animal in my pile. There are 2 animals. That is 3 mana crystals. You see how I'm slowly building. I am now at 12 mana. I haven't even proc those yet, and I am at 8. So that is even 8 right there. And I have 2 of these things. My luminescence is at 2. So I could move that along, get another power, but I don't need another power right now. I'm playing kind of a power-like game. But so let's go ahead and gather yet again. Let's go ahead and do that yet again and get my last potion. These came in handy. Chaos potion, rerolling number of dice. That's what I want because it makes sure I get my things that I need. And 8 is going to be exactly what I need for Daos. So then to kind of indicate the chain that I'm going to light up, this is going to activate this. This is going to set a die and activate this. And I love that. I sincerely apologize. I did not account for the wound for entering this location. I don't think I ever healed that. So I just discarded 2 gems. Except my luminescence was that too. So just to kind of like retcon and do that. Important because I'm going to move this. It is going to move and going to wound me again. So dealing with 2 wounds would have been devastating. I meant to deal with the wound. Just a lot to deal with. So hopefully that makes up for it and I do get a wound. Wound is going to go on my green over there. And I'm going to take care of that. So because I can easily take care of it. It does deny me a die, but I'm okay with that. Okay, that is, and that. Those are the 2 big ones, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to try to get the wound cleanser with this roll. I do get a wound cleanser with that roll. Okay, So then that is going to be that, and that is going to take care of that wound. This one is going to be here. I have nothing to re-roll, so that's fine. And this is going to activate this time. That's 5. Set an unused dice to this one, and then I put that there. Another, that's 7. And then I gain that magical dice right there. Gonna use that, and I am going to get 3 more gems. And I'm gonna get 2 more gems when I do that. So that's 5 gems total. I'm gonna use the big gem right there. I'm at 16 even after discarding. I know. It really feels like I'm stopping this game. Yes, I'm stopping this game. I've played this game so many times. But that is not an indication of the level of difficulty that is awaiting. I just got a lot of great combos. And it shows you that you need to play well in order to beat the advanced modes. This is a normal mode that I'm playing. Lots and lots of advanced modes here. Anyway, sorry for that interruption. So then that is going to be here for 10. Going to discard a card, which is going to be... Well, that one should have been discarded. There, right there. The Wraith, you may purchase a scroll for the discard pile for 1 less. I'm going to keep those together because 1 focus scroll can actually satisfy the condition for both. So I'm going to discard something else, which will be the Cerulean Mystic. Yeah, I'm going to give up on you. So that was something that I had my eye on, but that is not going to happen. And, I may set an unused die to think I'm going to need this. Maybe. Actually, I won't need it, but it's nice to have. I'm going to get a lot of these things. Actually, I could get it right now if I wanted to. I'm going to get it right now. I don't need to set any dice, but at least I get another crystal out of it. Crystals are just always really good to have around. If I can set an unused die and gain 1 for each die that sets a moon, nothing could be set to moon. Discard fodder if I ever saw it. So I have 11 on my tracker, and I'm going to spend 2 crystals for the difference. And I'm going to defeat this location. On defeat, I can gain a bat to get the energy enchantment. The energy enchantment would add a energy to one of my cards, which, all energy is always good. So that's going to get added to Daos. And I get to progress to Fotier. Sure. Gain 5 bats? What? Oh! All right. And I get a global effect to mimic and discard a top card of the Nexus deck. Okay. Sure. But I doubt I'm going to be using that anytime soon. But 6 bats. Oh, that does not make me happy. In addition, I was a little bit careless. Forgot to care for this. My power orb is at 2 brightness. So then the moon is going to see me. The Eye of Sauron has located me and is sending a monster after me. The Deceiver, it's just going to sink 3 more. All right. A monster and 6 bats. 5 bats from the 4th location and 1 bat as payment to get this energy, which is an extra. So I better be rolling at least 1 blue. Least 1 blue, I got it. So then that is going to be there. That's just how I kind of reserve my dice. And then I'm going to try to get a swirly, which is the thing that I really want. That is a swirly, and that is my turn. So you see how I'm trying to kind of get symbol diversity. So I need these 2, but everything else I can re-roll and re-roll. I know I'm kind of heavy on blue, but I was able to arrange it so that I have different options, and that's kind of the secret to winning this game. I'm just pointing that out. All right, so I'm going to put that there. I am not going to manipulate anything. That is going to be activate this scroll. I'm not going to re-roll. So that is 6 energy. Oh, baby. Right there. That is going to set this die to that. And that is going to be the familiar, that guy, and that's going to bring me to 8. And then this one is going to give me, let me just go straight down the line. there. So we really have to keep track of what's going on. So that is going to be 3 more crystals. My secret weapon is the fact that I'm gaining mana and not having to spend it. So then I'm going to do that. That is another 2 for 5. Okay. Sorry about that. And activating that scroll. Just tap that here for another 3 energy. So that brings me to 11 right there. And then discard a card for the Nexus. Bye-bye. Told you were discard fodder. You didn't listen. I don't think that really matters right now. Although I may mimic a focus scroll, a Nexus, and discard that scroll. Yes. That is the improved Soul Gauntlet. I love that. But don't need it right now. Okay, so that's going to bring me to 12. And then I'm going to use that to get a power card. See if the power card is any help. You may re-roll a number of dice, all the dice that are assigned. I am going to use that, though, to get what is functionally 2 more power to defeat the location. I'll get to that in just a second. But I have 6 bats over here, or 5 bats? 6 bats. 6 bats. That's all 12 of my energy. That is 0. And I also have the Tziva to deal with, and I have to use mana for it. So that it brings me down over here. But I do get to trigger an effect. So the effect is going to be the effect on the location to mimic and discard the top card of the Nexus deck. So then let's just pull that out blind. See what I get. Woohoo! 2 crystals. When you gather, choose a player to gain 1, but I did not gather this turn. I have 2 crystals. All right, so you see here, I have a location value of 16 to beat. Next round, the boss is going to enter my square, wound me again, and make it a little bit harder for me to finish. And then I have that round. That's it. So I would have to beat him either this round or next round. I am going to use my secret weapon. I have the crystals that I need. I've been building it up the entire time. Also have a couple of power. That is going to let me beat the last location and win a game of Mageling. Woohoo! Yeah, Betty. So that is the game. I didn't use the power orb as much as I could have. There you can definitely get games. There's 8 cards in here, and you could just fly through. There are cards in the Nexus that just, move your power orb 1, move your power orb 2, 3, and just, you can get so many power cards triggered that way. So that's a whole different way to play, going through the whole power deck. And there's just different ways to play. I could have done a discard strat where just discard cards, and get that going. This was a heavy energy strat. You could do a heavy, just like use 1 dime and like trigger off 5 things. Didn't use my potions as much. You see, there's so much possibility in terms of strategies and combos. This game plays very similarly to the base game. In terms of the I think it was called Journey to Cloud Chamber or something like that. So I don't know that there's any need to show you a separate playthrough of the Cloud Chamber, especially because the orb is right there and all that kind of stuff. But you get the idea in terms of the player experience. This game is dice, it's Davis combos. I love it. I've been playing it ever since I got it. Was very happy when the designer got in touch with me. And thank me for introducing it to a bunch of people, including Stygian Plays Solo. Stygian did a blog on it, has been talking about it, and got a lot more of visibility for this game. So Stygian, if you're watching this, good on you, my friend. But for everybody else watching this, this is Mageling. Go ahead and check out the link in the show notes for the crowdfunding so that you can follow that and see if this is something that you want as part of your gaming collection. So this is Jason reminding you that we will see you at the next stop.